Hi everyone, this is Aastha. Today I'm going to talk about the art of effective communication via presentation. Let's not waste any more time and start the presentation. But before I go, wishing everyone a very happy International Women's Day. Let's start the presentation. First of all, a bit of detail about myself. I'm a lead cybersecurity instructor at Flight Attendant School here in New York, and I'm an OWASP New York member. I'm an OWASP Women in AppSec member. InfoSec Girls is in another community. I'm the New York chapter lead there. I'm founder of an initiative known as Cyber Preserve. So under Cyber Preserve, I run a mentorship program and a YouTube channel, and currently, I recently started off with a lean in circle known as Breaking Barriers, Women in Cybersecurity. So, something to know about today's session. So, first of all, we are going to talk about why communication skills. Then we are going to emphasize on knowing your target audience, content requirement in effective presentations, mapping ideas via target audience, how to start Microsoft PowerPoint, choosing slide themes, adding slides content, smart art, speaker notes, and handouts. So first of all, why communication skills? Communication skill for me, and I think for everyone, should be just another life skill, okay? Why? Because you never know in your life when you are required to present to a particular set of audience. And learning effective communications help you deliver right content to the right audience. What does that mean? This means whatever content you are delivering to the audience should absorb that. And not only absorb that, you have to keep your audience engaged. That's another important factor. What if you're presenting and your audience is not listening to you well? So learning presentation skills, and most important, effective presentation skill, is the key. Now, a good thing to notice is that nowadays, good communication skills are an integral skill looked upon by many hiring managers and employers in IT, cyber, and management roles. So you never know, you are in any type of a job and you are required to present to any set of audience. It can be you're presenting to a set of customers, clients. You might be presenting to your senior board directors. So the next slide talks about know your target audience. So whenever you are provided a task, you have been assigned a task to provide, like, to create a presentation and like share some content, some facts, some figures, some information with your audience, you need to know who your audience is. So why this is important? Because someone who would be joining you for your presentation, you need to know why they are here. What's making them join your presentation? Why are they what can be their expectations when they are coming to join your presentation? What kind of information they're here to look for? So that's why it's important to know who your audience is. Is it a customer you're currently working with? Are they senior board members like CEO, CTO, CISO, developers team, testers team, finance team, HR team, legal team? Who's your audience? So you might be in any role. You might be a cybersecurity analyst. You might be a developer yourself. You might be you might be a business analyst. You might be a program manager or a project manager. So whatever your role is and wherever it falls in the hierarchy of an organization, you might be presenting either to your either you might be providing presentation to your subordinates or to your seniors. You never know which condition it might be, but it's important to know why you are presenting. And it's important to know why they are coming to listen to you. So if you know this, you actually know how your content should look like. And that should come naturally. If you do not think upon this particular important factor, then when you're creating a presentation, you might not be hitting the right chords. So next thing is, once you get to know that who is your target audience, and knowing your target audience is something that I'm going to discuss more in detail while we talk about mapping ideas as well. So a lot of things from improvement perspective can be covered from mapping ideas too. But right now, let's look at the content requirement. So for example, if you are presenting, if you're creating a presentation, then inside your presentation slides, what kind of content should be reflected? So for that purpose, for example, if you're presenting some facts, figures, some calculated facts and figures, quantifiable information, so in from that perspective, data visualization can be a good way to actually deliver that content. And by data visualization, what I mean is that instead of showing facts and figures and percentage numbers in text format, try to use some graphs, try to use some charts. So that, and easy, and I'm not saying complex charts, you have to create complex charts, you have to create complex graphs. No, simple way of presenting information so that when the audience is looking at it, they can have an eye contact with you. Okay, eye contact, again, when I'll talk about mapping ideas, that will come into point. But here, when they look at this information which you are showing, if they have some visualization, because as human, we are more curious to see things which have some figure, which have some shape. So instead, like if given a chance to look at a textual information or at a visual, like a information which has a graph or a chart, definitely we'll look at a graph and a chart first, like what is it showing? So data visualization becomes an important part. Then illustrations and storytelling. So illustrations again can be part of showing some logical or qualitative information. Storytelling becomes important, first of all, when, let's say, you are coming from a technical background and your audience is either semi-technical or non-technical. So in that scenario, what becomes important is that how should I deliver my content? The information which I need to deliver requires some complex technical terminologies. How to actually deliver that content to my audience? So from that perspective, what you need to focus on, like, what if I bring some story around this? So that once you start with a story, and that story can be a normal incident in our day-to-day life, like that story can be like smart enough to explain that you want, like for example, you're going back home from office and you reach your home and you found that you don't have the keys. Where are your keys? So these are like small day-to-day examples which you can like share with your audience, first of all, to build a grip with your content, to keep your audience engaged, and of course to keep your audience like understand your content. So before you deliver a complex information, if you deliver them with a storytelling, okay, giving them a very small gist of small examples, and then you deliver your content, the audience will instantly connect with you. So when you are thinking of content building, always think about illustration, storytelling, data visualization. Now, moving on to the next part, it talks about mapping ideas with target audience. Mapping ideas with target audience means, like, now when you have been assigned a task to create a presentation, you'll spend some time thinking like, what should be the heading? What should be the first slide? What should be the second slide? So once you decide the headings of your slides, slide content, then you will start thinking what my content should look like. For example, for a particular section, if I show this kind of information to the audience, will they like it? Will they not like it? So brainstorming is an important part when you are presenting. So brainstorming can be like looking at some of the content which is related to your content or your topic which you are going to present on search engines, writing your ideas on paper, sharing your ideas with your colleagues and friends, taking some positive feedback, improve your content as per the audience requirement. Now, how to start? So we know there are many applications out there which are used for creating presentation, but we also know that undoubtedly Microsoft PowerPoint is the most popular application most of us use to create presentations. So now onwards, we are going to take examples from Microsoft PowerPoint, like how to how to choose a theme for your presentation, how to add slides, how to add smart art, and how to add like handouts, or you're talking about your speaker notes. So we are going to like emphasize presentations from Microsoft point of view. Now, the very first thing when you open Microsoft PowerPoint is choosing a slide theme. Many times when we know what the content is, we may have jotted our content on a notepad or a Word document. Then the next thing is like how to choose the best theme. So when we talk about the slide themes, again, your slide themes should go with the content you are delivering. It should not be like too much dark for the audience. So important things are here to be taken care, like what type of information you're sharing with your audience. If it's some kind of facts and figures which you're sharing, light themes go well with that. If you're choosing dark themes, then in that particular scenario, choose your font colors effectively so that your slides, they look presentable. It should not be like you're choosing dark theme, dark font, light theme, light font. It should not be like this. So many times when you are really presenting your content to like some senior board members kind of people, so your slide themes, they are touted to be quite professional, simple, light. At the same time, if you're presenting some content to your customers, it has to be more interactive. Then your slide theme should be more interesting, because you might be talking to a customer with respect to sales. Okay, so you might be from sales team and you're talking to a potential client. So from that point of view, your slide presentation should hold some interactive content. Then themes can also be decided based on the nature of the client. So Microsoft PowerPoint provides you a variety of themes. You have multiple oodles of options right now to choose from. Moving on, the next one is adding a slide. So let's say you choose a slide theme, then how to add a slide. So under the ribbon toolbar of Microsoft PowerPoint, there's an option of adding slide on the top. So either you can choose the option of adding slide from the top, or if you can see here, there is a title slide already present. So if you can click on any of the current slides, you get an option to add a slide appended to that. So you have two options. Either from the existing slides, you can right click and add more slide, or you can choose this insert option to add the slides. Now, smart art. Smart art becomes a very important factor in addition to the topics we talk about, like your content should have data visualization, storytelling, illustration. So in addition to that, smart art is one of the features provided by PowerPoint, which are very effective in delivering content. So in smart art, actually what happens is, if you look at these two slides, one on the top, the screenshot on the top and the screenshot at the bottom, what happens is, if you just keep on adding bullet points, okay, in your slide content, there are chances that the picture which you're seeing on the right, your audience might feel bored. They feel bored. So they might be listening to you physically, but mentally they may not. So smart art gives you a chance to change your content in a more interactive way. How? Let me show you that. So Smart Art somehow looks like this. So Smart Art again comes under the Insert tab in the top ribbon toolbar in PowerPoint. Now, what happens is, once you choose the Smart Art option, you get a variety of Smart Art graphic which you can choose from. So you have an option of choosing list type of a Smart Art, process, cycle, hierarchy, relationship, matrix, pyramid. So how to choose a Smart Art with respect to your content? Let's say your content is describing different stages of data, let's say, or stages of your content. For example, moving from one stage to another and then to another. So if you're showing some growth, so for that, you can choose processes, you can choose pyramids. Then if you have a list of points to show to your audience, you can choose various listing options. Then if your content has some kind of a hierarchical relationship with each other, so that you can show with the help of the relationship matrix. So how to think about the best of the smart art? You have to first think about what my content is showing. It's not like you can choose any smart art and put it in your slide. No, it's not like that. You have to again think from the perspective, what my content is showing. Is my content showing some kind of a continuous improvement loop or a cycle? So then you can choose a cycle type of a smart art. If your content is showing some list of points, then you can choose the list option. So depending upon what your content is, you have to give it a thought. Okay, and based on that, you can choose a necessary smart art. Now, The last one is speaker notes and handouts. Why speaker notes and handouts becomes an important part? Reason being that when, let's say, if you're a speaker for a presentation, and mind it, when you're preparing for your presentation, so let's say like you thought about the content, you brainstormed, okay, you started mapping your ideas with your target audience, then you started building content, maybe you choose storytelling, you choose some of the smart art, and now your particular presentation is ready and you're rehearsing again and again. So in that process of rehearsing, even if you have rehearsed, let's say, 10 times, there is still a slight chance that when you are presenting, you might miss a very important point when delivering your presentation. So during that point, keeping speaker notes become an integral part. So speaker notes, if you can see the screenshot at the bottom of slide in Microsoft PowerPoint, at the bottom, there is an option given to you to add speaker notes. How speaker notes helps us is that, for example, in a particular slide, you want to deliver few important topics, you can add them as bullet points here. So when you are presenting your presentation in the presenter mode, so in the presenter mode, speaker notes are not visible to the audience, but to you. So when you're standing at the podium, or when you're presenting, maybe in a conference room, wherever is the location, you still have access to the laptop, you are handling those slides. So if you have access to the speaker notes, you can just check them. So it's not like you have to write big paragraphs in the speaker notes, but important points that you should not or might not forget. So if you add speaker notes there, then it can easily help you remember points if you forget something at that moment. Now, how speaker notes can become useful for your audience? Okay, what happens is when you give a presentation and you're done, your audience really enjoy it, but they might still have some questions, and they really wish to, like, what if we had this presentation with us, a copy of this presentation with us, maybe we can just go through it again and ask any follow-up questions. So in that scenario, what happens if you have some handouts for your audience, at the end of the presentation, you can provide those handouts to your audience, so that later on, once the presentation is over, they can go through that content again. If they have any questions, they can reach out to you later on. But at least as of now, they have the content which you showed to them with them actually. So when they have the content with them, and when you take out the handouts, not only the presentation comes, you can take out the handouts, including your speaker notes, so that the audience has access both to the presentation and the speaker notes as well. Now, by this, I would like to conclude that presentation skill, as you have seen, can become a very, very important topic when you do not know what to present and you're really anxious. Sometimes we have confidence issues. So when you know what is the right kind of content that you have to deliver, I know first time it's going to be anxious, but with time and when you start to improve your communication skills, especially using presentations, it like you start playing with it, you start enjoying creating presentations. And one important point which I want to mention is always have an eye to eye contact with your audience when you're presenting. So even if you're presenting here, okay, so your slides are here in the presenter mode, still the audience should look at you, you should have that connection. So not only things like smart art, data visualization, storytelling, all these things will help you build an engaging content, but you in fact having an eye to eye contact with your audience show that you are connected with them. This shows that you are constantly trying to connect with them, and when they give you an eye contact back, you'll get to know that your audience is connected, they are listening to you, they are absorbing your content. So these are some of the few ideas which I wanted to share with respect to effective communications. If you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on Gmail. This is my email ID. You can connect to me via LinkedIn, via Twitter, via my Instagram account for Cyber Preserve. So on any of these accounts, feel free to reach out to me to have an open discussion on communication skills or on cybersecurity. So I myself is a cybersecurity instructor. So if you have any questions around cyber, any questions around communication skills, please do reach out to me. I would be happy to hold any discussion with you later on. Thank you so much for having me.